It's not easy to correct our kids when they mess up, even if we're clearly in the right. The second we discipline our kids, our popularity points suffer. Mom isn't so cool anymore when she enforces no mobile phones at the table. Sadly, some parents, they can't handle this rejection, so they become the yes parents. And other parents, they go in the complete polar opposite where they're too strict. So where is the balance between rules and relationship? Here are 4 tips for loving our kids enough to enforce consequences when our kids push the limits. Number 1, delay punishment. This is by far one of the most effective discipline tools, waiting. It's like this: when our kids break a rule, don't punish them that very second. Address the issue immediately, but then make them wait for the punishment. This is a brilliant move achieves 2 desired results. It gives you, the parent, time to cool off. Many of us need this cool off period. In the initial moment, a parent's anger is usually too apparent, and words are spoken that are difficult to erase hours later when cooler heads prevail. And then this delay is punishment in itself. Instead of just getting it over with, tell them, calmly if possible, well, I really don't know exactly what I'm going to do yet, so just leave your phone right here and we'll talk about it in a few hours. Kids hate this, and it forces them to think about their choices and possible consequences that are going to be coming up while they wait. But eventually, you have to come up with a consequence. So when you do, number 2, make consequences that match the violation, and don't think up random consequences. When at all possible, use natural consequences or consequences that match the infraction. You forgot to take the dog out. Go get the shop vac and clean up the pee. Or you went over our agreed data usage, you're working to pay off that $30 charge. Let them experience the pain of real-world consequences. We aren't helping them if we constantly swoop down and save them from real-life problems. Children who are constantly saved are ones who grow into teens who believe nothing is ever their fault. It's always the stupid coach, teacher, advisor, driver, friend, and yes, parent. Why expect them to take responsibility when they've never had to? Number 3, ask them to set their own consequences. When our kids violate a rule or guardrail, ask them what they think is an appropriate punishment. I've done this at times because my wife and I honestly couldn't think of anything. And the funny thing is, our kids usually come up with something really good. Just put on your best poker face and agree. Excellent thinking. What do you think this consequences will teach you? This gives our kids a chance to dialogue with us about what they have learned, which leads to my next tip. Number 4, look for teaching moments. Far more important than any punishment is the conversation you have about the punishment. Yes, this is living out Deuteronomy 6, talking with our kids about values as we get up, as we walk along the road, as we go to bed at night. Sometimes our kids won't even realize the danger that they're flirting with on their phones and computers. Well, whenever you encounter a story in the news about a kid making poor decisions, bring it up at dinner and just ask the question, why do you think this girl got into this situation? How might she avoided this in the first place? There have been times where our kids have messed up pretty bad and have brought natural consequences on themselves. And it's at times like those where it's helpful to say, it seems like you're already facing some pretty natural consequences. I probably don't need to add any more into the mix. What do you think? Well, your kid's probably not going to disagree with this. So propose to them. Just tell me what you've learned from this situation and what you'll do to prevent it from happening again. After discussing this for a while, you can add, what can I do to help you from getting into this situation again? Parents don't earn popularity points when they punish their kids, but this isn't about popularity. It's about loving them enough to follow through and caring about them enough to be there to lift them up when they're down. Remember, we're not raising kids, we're raising adults, and we need to do right by them to set them up to be an adult one day. Hey, thanks for watching another one of our parent tip videos. If you're interested in seeing any more, just click here and be sure to subscribe to the 936 so you don't miss any of our other videos.